Hey everyone, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfail, and I am joined for the first time ever, I think, on one of these videos by Christina, aka Chrisma, who is my wife. We are in the same room
Yeah.
on Discord. You can see my hands back here. There might be some weird echoing because we don't have like a perfect audio setup, so we're just doing this on a Discord call like we would if we were gaming together. Um, but I've been wanting to have her come on and do a video for quite some time because I've been mentioning over the past 8 months of the Rings of Power videos, and then as we were doing the Rings of Power reviews of each episode, I kept talking about how I was giving the reviews, two different reviews on my YouTube channel. One was the biased review from my perspective because I'm a Tolkien fan, and I was giving the lore review, and then there was the unbiased review, which was coming from Christina's perspective because she has never read the books. She does have a copy somewhere down there behind our little Christmas tree. I bought her a copy for her birthday a couple of years ago, but you didn't. I think you've only read the first couple of chapters of The Hobbit, right?
Yes,
And
the
then we,
other books, no, I haven't.
yeah, and then we moved and bought the homestead, and so it's just not a lot of
Yeah,
time for her to be reading. But she has seen the Peter Jackson films. I don't know, five,
yeah,
5 or 6 times. I think we watch them pretty much every Christmas time now because
yes,
they are a Christmas film, and it is time.
yes,
It is time once again to watch them. So we will be doing that this December now that we're here and ready for Christmas. Um, but she's never read the books. She's never read the Silmarillion. No clue, no idea about anything that's in the Silmarillion. So I have said in a lot of my videos that she is the perfect target audience for Amazon because she was coming into the Rings of Power having only ever watched the films, Peter Jackson's movies, which you like those films. You've
yes,
seen them in English and you've watched them in Spanish.
yes,
So
both.
we've yeah, multiple times over the years. I think we've done
Yeah,
them together maybe like 6 times over the years, I think, together. So um, you know, we've seen them quite a few times. Um, so specifically, I want to talk about the season finale because um, you watched this episode, and I remember because we just watched it like what maybe 2 weeks ago, and I obviously watched it when it came out, gave my review. But when Chris watched it, the first thing they do in the season finale is they try to tell you that the wizard, like the Gandalf character, is Sauron, right? And you were watching, and I remember you asked me when the three witches tell him, "Oh, Lord Sauron," and you looked at me and you went, "Wait, is he Sauron? I thought this was Gandalf."
yeah, I thought,
And at the same time, they've never actually said that that character is Gandalf. It's just maybe he's Gandalf. And this is something that you and I have not discussed, but there are other wizards that came at the same time, which is Saruman and Radagast and some other wizards that they don't show in the other movies that you've seen. Um, but when we were watching, did you ever suspect, like, who did you think that Sauron might be? Because you'd never watched it. You didn't think it was Halbrand, right?
no,
And
I, I, I didn't know, and I said, no, pensé quién era. Por un momento, Gandalf, ¿no?
yeah.
Gandalf.
Well, and when we were watching, hey, Sam, I am gonna have to take care of Sam while we're doing this video because he's getting distracted by the Christmas lights. She was saying that she thought it might be Gandalf. It might be. You can totally see my white legs because I'm in my boxers, everybody. This is the kind of show we produce on my YouTube channel. It's off the cuff, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Halbrand, did you think that he was a bad guy when you were watching the show?
No, no,
And when you found out that he was Sauron, what did you think? What was your reaction?
I I was a little confused.
A little confused
Yeah.
and surprised because you didn't think that
Yes.
it was him.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, you and I have discussed the the conversation around the Rings of Power. Remember, I did the episode, "Is Rings of Power Ruining Tolkien?" And would you like to explain your perspective on that? Because I had said in my video, I said I don't think that it's ruining the legacy because the books are still there. They will always be there. But you had the opinion that many of the people on the internet had, which is that if the books say something, they need to make the show like what the books say, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Uh, in English.
Yeah, in English is fine. Don't worry. If you have stuff in Spanish, we can always do stuff in Spanish too.
Just because for me that I haven't read the books. If I watch the movies, I I I I watch the movie. If the books say different different things, I prefer the movies. No, because it's the first thing I watch. No, but um for me, if I don't like when change, if for example, if in the books say it's a man, and then in the movies wants to change a man for a woman, is is different. No, is if I have if you read the book before and then watch the movies, a little confused. No, I think for me.
You also said
uh,
something, ouch, Sam. You had said, and this is something that it's funny that Chris said this because I've been having conversations with people around the internet for 8 months, and there have been a lot of conversations about why would you adapt a book if you're not going to actually adapt the book. I think you even said, why didn't they do an original show? Like, why don't they just create their own show? Why would you?
yeah, yes, I say that. Yes, just because if you are paying for something and then you want to change everything, change is how do you say, yes, what is the point, no, no estás siguiendo lo lo del libro, estás haciendo a tu forma, in your way. It's better create your own
So
story, no, como se dice, historia, o
it's a
mundo,
story.
o
No,
world.
create your own story, create your own world. Um,
Yes.
do you remember, because the second season is coming soon? Do you remember the show that we watched on Amazon? It was a few years ago called Carnival Row, which had like the police detective and that had like the fairies with the wings and they had trolls. And do you remember that show? You probably don't because it's been like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Because I've
no.
used that as an example. I remember that when we watched it, you liked the show, um, because it was something that you appreciated, but it was an original world. It was an original show. They weren't
Yeah,
trying to do something with. Do you remember Shadow and Bone that we watched recently?
yeah,
With the girl who had she was taking the ship across and there was like the darkness and she was like a sun magic user or something. That's another example of an adaptation that didn't follow the book very closely, um, but people liked it for the most part, although it changed a few things and it took characters from books two and books three and put them into the first season. Also, oh, here's another good one because I know we're on the topic. Um, well, I'll finish. There are other shows that Netflix have done that are based on books. Do you remember The Wheel of Time when we watched The Wheel of Time?
yeah. I remember.
You you actually liked The Wheel of Time, yeah?
Yeah.
I think you ended up giving it like 8 out of 10 because you said this is actually, decent. And I was watching it with you, and every episode I was just like, nope, it's not how it was in the books. It's not.
Yes, then you told me that they change. They are not following how the book says. No.
But I will say the one thing, now that I've seen Rings of Power compared to Wheel of Time, in Wheel of Time, they didn't really create any new characters for the show. They used existing characters from the books. Whereas with Rings of Power, Halbrand, as an example, does not exist in the books. Um, Princess Disa does not exist in the books.
Mm.
Bronwyn, the healer, and Arondir, her elven boyfriend, they don't exist in the books. Um,
Mm.
it's very difficult to for people who have read the books to watch a show, but you didn't have any opinions about those characters when we were watching the show. Um, when we were watching, did you ever have any moments where you were like, "This is boring. I don't like this," or did you actually like the show as you watched it?
Yes, in the first episodes,
If you had to give it a rating, like on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think you would give it overall for the whole show?
and Rings of Power,
Yeah.
I like the show, but I don't know. Maybe
No one's gonna judge you. I'm
I,
just genuinely curious.
I say I nine, nine.
9 out of 10. So here you have it, everybody. Chris is a complete Tolkien noob and knows nothing about the books, has only ever watched the Peter Jackson films, and she gave it a 9 out of 10. This is, in my opinion, Chris is the perfect example of the target audience that Amazon was looking for with the show because there are a lot of people like Chris who've never read the books, who only ever watched the Peter Jackson movies or remember that the Peter Jackson movies were a really big thing 20 years ago. And so they were like, "Oh, Tolkien, Middle Earth? Yeah, I'll watch that." Um, I will say that when we got to the end, would you have I don't know if you'll understand this in English, if I need to ask it in Spanish. Would you have cared, like, if I had not told you, like, that Halbrand didn't exist in the books, and do you think that would have changed? Because we had great, even because here's the thing, she gave it a 9 out of 10, even knowing that they changed a lot of things for the books because she doesn't have, you don't have any.
No, but I say because I like the show. The show. I am no the number nine that I am giving no tiene nada que ver con los libros. Si
Well,
están siguiendo o no.
that's what I was
Ya.
trying to say, was that your score is for the show because you don't have any emotions tied to the books. And that's something that many people, myself included, had a hard time with because I did appreciate some aspects of the show because I was watching it with you, and so I get to watch it through your eyes and go, okay, she's enjoying this part. What am I? Why am I not enjoying this part as well? And then analyzing that and saying, well, maybe it's because of this or that. And if it was a lore related reason and that was the only reason I wasn't enjoying it, that doesn't mean that it was a bad part of the show. It just means that my bias prevented me from being able to enjoy it from a newcomer's perspective. And I think that's very important if you're going to critique something, to be able to have the perspective of being on the outside looking in, because she doesn't know the characters of the books and the story of the books. So for you, Chris, Halbrand was a surprise because it was, oh wait, he's Sauron, which means the wizard's not
Exactly.
Sauron. Maybe the wizard is Gandalf. We don't know yet. Um, but yeah. Um, do you have any final thoughts on the show overall or the season finale that you would like to share with my audience? Because obviously, we've been doing these Rings of Power videos for 8 months, so we talk a lot about the lore and everything else. Um, I know that you liked some of the special effects. Were there any characters you did or didn't like, something like that on the show?
Okay. I would like to watch the show again because I watch in English. Yes, but
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
would, yeah, but the characters, um, for example, ay, ¿cómo se llama? Ay, olvido el nombre de este hombre acompañando a la reina en, ¿cómo se llama?
Elendil, the sea
Arendelle.
captain, the
Yeah,
sea captain whose son was Isildur.
yes, that. I. Mm-hmm.
You liked his
Yeah.
character?
Yeah.
He's actually one of the characters from the books, and I don't know if you remember in the beginning of the Peter Jackson movies when Isildur cuts the ring from Sauron's finger,
Yeah.
his father is in that battle, Elendil, and Elendil actually dies in that battle, and Isildur picks up his father's because if you remember, Elendil fights Sauron, and then his sword breaks, and Elendil
Yeah.
is killed, and Isildur picks up the broken sword and cuts the ring off of Sauron's finger. That's who those characters are. So one of the things we're going to see in Rings of Power is we're going to be watching Elendil and Isildur as they become those characters eventually. Right now, it's just a sea captain and his son who is lost at the end of the of the show, but he can't be lost because he has to be there to cut um, the ring off. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
there's a call coming in from my. I need to cancel that. It's my nephew. He's like, where are you at? Because we're supposed to be doing Minecraft right now. So that's my cue that we need to go ahead and wrap this episode up. I would say to everyone who's watching, if you would like Christina to join me more frequently for things like, because she hasn't watched Willow yet, we're going to be watching Willow over the next couple of days. She may have thoughts. If you would like her to join me and do reviews together of things, let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and of course, don't forget to support on these premieres. You can do super chats and stickers. You can also do a super thanks after the video has been uploaded, whatever you're comfortable with. You can also join as a member of the Adventurers Guild. We have 3 different tiers of membership down below. And Chris also helps me on that world map behind me. That's the world of Weave of the Void. She does all the artwork for our tabletop component while I handle all the writing and the book series, and my brother works in Unreal on the point and click adventure game. So if you want to check that stuff out, thanks to everybody for following along our journey here on YouTube over the past couple of years, and I hope we will see you in the next episode. So I'm going to say bye. I'll let Chris say bye, and then that's it.
Bye.
All right, see everybody. Until next time, stay safe out there.